So Alex, thank you so much for joining today. What an excitement for me to have an opportunity to interview you today. I know you for a long time and you've been doing amazing thing at Denison Yachting and the Superior division. So why don't you give us a quick introduction and tell us who you are?
All right, I won't bore anybody with too many details, but Alex Clarke, I'm with Denison Yachting. Joined Denison about 12 years ago, where we started the super yacht division here and have grown over the years and keep continuing to do really well. And, we put a lot of effort into building, like, nothing's built overnight. So, 10 plus years of going strong, and we're doing really well right now in the marketplace.
So you're on fire right now. Like it feels like every week I open Facebook and I see you selling the super yacht. Why don't you make us dream a little bit? And tell us, like, give us some idea, like, let's say last 60 days, last 90 days, like what's the volume of super yacht you've sold?
Oh man.
I want you to inspire us.
So I've got a few in the works right now, but that'll be closing. That'll be exciting the next couple of days. But I've sold, 2021 San Lorenzo SD92, 2017 San Lorenzo SL86. What else did I do? I did a 37-meter new construction at New Marine, 32-meter new construction at New Marine, another expedition boat that was 105 feet, sold that one as well. That was a 2000.
And this is over the last couple of months, right?
Like the last 90 days, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of activity. Obviously, the market right now is extremely busy. We're just trying to take advantage of it. Sold a bunch of smaller stuff in there too. Did an 85 Ocean Alexander 2018. And we've got some good ones. Just got an acceptance of vessel on a 150 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So we did that.
Good.
And that'll be closing in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, it's a good time. But remember, in brokerage, it's not always like this.
Yes,
that's
of
the
course.
key.
Yeah,
I remember back to 2008 when it was terrible, when everything crashed and you had to scrap to get by, so.
Yes. So let's go back on the journey a little bit. So you said 12 years ago you joined Denison, and you also said that it wasn't, success wasn't coming overnight, and it took a long time in the journey to arrive like this. So what did you do before? So
after university, my uncle had a brokerage house called Barchman Brackenhoff. It was a boutique firm, very small, kind of a New England based firm. Yeah. So he helped me get an interview on a yacht. I worked on a yacht in San Remo, Italy, on a 150 footer across the Atlantic. Kind of thought that would be a fun thing to do. Went back to Connecticut thinking I would never do yachting as a full-time thing. Yes. And kind of flip-flop back and forth. And 10 years later, I was still working on yachts, worked my way up from deckhand to captain, running boats all over the world, primarily as first mate on board. Didn't really take it up to the next level with a captain position, but did run some boats myself, nothing too big. And then moved ashore to Fraser Yachts and Yacht Management.
So you went to yacht management, right? After
went into yacht management because at that point I was just looking to move ashore. I was done doing the yacht thing, wanted to find a land-based job.
Yes.
Worked with Fraser Yachts, then got into brokerage section of Fraser Yachts, working over a pretty big broker over there, trying to learn the ropes, and then joined my uncle's firm. And then Bob Denison and I, who went to University of Miami together, we kind of sat down, had a couple conversations, and I had this crazy idea about a super yacht division. Denison at the time was primarily selling boats, which is still our bread and butter, but more or less 30 to 80 feet. And I had come from Fraser, where their focus was the opposite, the bigger segment. So I said, well, why don't we start a super yacht division? So really, it was just Bob and I running around pretending we had this super yacht division, promoting it, doing interviews.
At the beginning, it was just a name, right?
Yeah, it was the Denison Super Yacht division, and doing interviews. I remember in the Monaco show where it's, telling about this new division we've created. Meanwhile, we were just trying to, grab some part of the market share, which was difficult. And we finally started doing, a 30 meter here, a 40 meter, brought in some guys and Bob, to give you a background on Bob Denison. Bob isn't a broker. He is just the marketing guru behind the company, and he was just solely market driven. So it allowed me to take advantage of him. And then I'm a pretty decent at selling stuff. So I kind of, we benefited from each other and started growing the team, and all the way up till now, we're, I think for the past 3 years, we've sold more boats over 24 meters than any other firm in the world.
Yes. So I saw the results. I think it was like a few months ago. There were some stats about the top brokerage firm and the number of superyachts sold. So you guys clearly came at number one. And I also saw over the last few years that you're the number one broker in terms of, I think, sales volume at Denison Yachting. So you're the number one broker and the number one firm. We want to know the secret.
Well, I wouldn't go the number one guy. I mean, there's some guys here at the company that do equally, if not better than I do, but, I think the key, Jeff Stanley, who's a broker at Gilman Yachts, who's been around for quite a while, he always told me, do not get big boat syndrome, right? And what that means to me is, do not just focus on the vision of grandeur of selling these huge boats, right? Just sell everything that will make you money. Obviously value your time. You don't want to put so much time into selling a $200,000 boat as you could a $2 million or a $20 million, but also focus on what you think is possible. If you have somebody that you're chasing that's maybe going to just waste your time, focus your energy on something that you think is going to produce results, right? So I personally do about a dozen, maybe 15 boats a year.
Yes.
Most of my stuff is, probably that bread and butter between $2 and $8 million, but I'll sell smaller stuff. I'll also hopefully pop one or two bigger ones. Right.
Yes.
But if I keep with that steady business, in that 70, 80, 90, 100 foot range, you're going to make good income. And what we're different at Denison versus, we don't pretend to be a Fraser or a Burgess or Edmundston, where they're just doing the big stuff.
Really big monster boat, yeah.
We're really growing our client base who've been buying. I mean, we sold 1,000 boats last year, Yeah. So a lot of those are smaller boats. So from that, we grow our clients. I always like to say that we're the only firm out there can take a client from infancy and bring them all the way to maturity, right? Yes. So you can sell them a 30 footer and hopefully one day we'll sell them, a 300 footer. But we've focused on that 24 meter to 40 meter segment of the market where a lot of the bigger firms kind of neglect, right? So that's why we're doing so well in there. If they were to ask us, are we the number one broker selling 50 meter plus stuff? No, I don't think so. Not yet. So I think the key here is value your time and just,
okay, value your time. So let's go back a little bit about time management, because you mentioned about time. And when I talk to brokers, this is one of the biggest struggle they have, and especially in a seller market like today, where there is such a high demand from the marketplace. And you have so many deals on the pipeline right now. Like and you have two beautiful kids, beautiful family. Yeah. How do you manage your time? Like you don't have bag under your eyes.
So this is my third coffee of the day. So surround yourself with good people and a good team. Okay. So I've got Bob and his whole team that are doing marketing. Our closing agents and our closing department are outstanding, right? I've got a good maritime attorney I use. I've got good surveyors that I use. And what I love about Denison, we also have a good team here with all of our brokers where we actually try to help each other and share information. A lot of firms, a lot of people are tight-lipped. And so if you can surround yourself, I don't pretend to be good at all those things, right? So it allows me to focus on what I'm doing, and I can rely on the team around me to support me, right?
So in other words, what you're saying is you're not a lone wolf doing deal on your own.
Absolutely not. No.
It's really a teamwork, and without the team, you would not be capable of doing everything that you're doing. Okay.
Correct. The only thing, what is it? The only thing better than hard work is teamwork, right? One of those things, right? So it's and it's true. So
that's excellent. Okay. And what other advice can you give for time management? Like, do you know how to say no? You sell big boats. So when a client comes to see you and they want to sell small boats, how do you say no? How do you set the line on?
I've got people within our company. Yeah. So I've got people in my company that I if I get a referral and it's not me, I know other brokers that
Okay.
specialize. So
That's
in
good.
Denison, you have brokers that kind of specialize in different segments of the
Yes.
market. So if I have somebody that comes to me, and it's an important client, obviously I'll handle it myself. But if I want to make sure that they are in the right hands, right? And you don't
Yes.
just push them aside, because that guy buying an Intrepid could be buying, probably a 130 Westport one
Yes,
day
of
or
course.
something bigger.
Yes.
So that's important. And then as for time management, I mean, you're a dad, you're a husband.
Yes.
So my wife would probably tell me I have terrible time management because I work too much, but I think I do a pretty good job of balancing family. But I'm up at 6 every morning at least. That would be sleeping in. I'm working till Bob and I get a lot done between 11 and 1 a.m., 11 p.m. and 1.
Yeah.
So you come home, you do the family time, put the kids down. I normally work a couple more hours. I go to bed at midnight, get up and do it again. And I'm just grinding all day, every day.
That's fantastic. So let me ask you a question. I see a lot of brokers, they sell the big boats and then they go easy. They go easy for 3-4 months, and it doesn't seem to be a philosophy. And that's what I really like about you. You keep grinding, you keep pushing. And so where is that drive coming from? Is that the company culture? Is that something?
My wife, my wife, no, I'm so first, Bob's given me some pretty good breaks. So I don't want to let down Bob or the team or my clients, right? So that's just a personal drive I have. Also, I see what I want to provide my family, right? I want to give them so much. But also with brokerage, it's very, it's like a roller coaster. It's cyclical. It's never going to be like it is now. I have some brokers who are going out and buying, I can name a few that are buying flashy cars and flashy this.
Yes.
For me, it's not always going to be like this. So put the money away.
So you're smart enough to realize that it's a cycle thing.
Totally.
And right now you're in the top. So that's very smart.
I kind of try to mentor or give advice to some of our guys here that are doing well. And I always tell them, tuck the money away, set up your corporation, start putting away in your SEP IRA. If you've got your kids, start putting in the college fund, pay down your mortgage, whatever. I'm not going to give financial advice, but be smart about the money and know that one day you're probably not going to have any. I mean, I'm about to run out of inventory of things to sell.
So how do you get so many listings also? Because I mean, you seems to have...
it's the secret, right?
That's the secret sauce.
The secret. A lot of it's our marketing. And it's just, again, at Denison, I've been here for 10 years and you're just building with clients. My uncle would always tell me he'd rather have a dozen clients that he could grow with over the years. I know Chris Daves, I was talking to the other day. He's one of our older brokers, and he's been doing a lot longer than I. He was mentioning one client who had bought 8 yachts from him, you know? And so if you have those clients where every 3 or 4 years or 2 years, I mean, I've got a client now, I've sold 3 boats for him in the past 8 months, all of them over $5 million. So if you get some of those good, lucky clients, that,
and you know how to
stick with them, keep them, and then grow your database. Always keep in touch with your clients. The biggest thing I think is not, I have reminders set up. I'm not the best at my CRM and everything, but you got to get in touch with your clients.
Yes. That's excellent. So you also speak very highly of your mentors, your uncle, Bob, and everybody that really help you grow in your career. So I have a question for you. Because you know so much more now that you knew when you started, but what advice would you give your younger self when you were just started as a broker? What would you tell him? What would you tell yourself?
So I think when you're younger and you get a good lead, right? And you have a potential for, let's say, maybe selling a bigger boat, don't be shy of bringing in somebody within your company or whoever that you trust to try to advise you, or even partner up. Don't think of actually losing commission, right? Think of it that even if you have to share a little bit with somebody, that's going to be somebody who can help you actually close the deal, right? The other one would be stay focused. Before, if somebody is like, oh, I've got a $5 million budget or a $2 million budget, I'd probably send them like 20 boats and say, oh, this is everything on the market, right? Probably confuse the shit out of the client. And so keep them focused. give them a selection of quality boats. Also, you know.
So let's go back here. So instead of sending 20, what would you do? Would you send like 2 or 3?
I'd probably send, you know, 3 to 5
Okay.
at first and say, what do you think of these? Try to narrow him down, try to educate him along the way. Also to make your life easier, try to, if you're in, I mean, I'm lucky enough to be in South Florida where people come to me to buy boats, right? So here I try to sell inventory that's easy for me, you know, selling something like I've got a Ferretti for sale that I have an offer on that I'm closing on in Marmaris, Turkey.
Yes.
You know, that's a long way for me to go and sell something, which I'll do, but times have changed a little bit with COVID and with the family. It's not that easy. So try to focus on selling inventory near you. Try to keep your client focused. And that's the other thing, educate your client, not just try to sell them something, you know, especially when you get into these bigger boats or more expensive boats, explain to them what the annual operating costs are. You know, don't tell somebody buying a 100-foot boat, you can run it for 200 grand a year. You know, you're going to lose your client and it's not going to work well.
Yeah.
So always be honest with them and try to educate them on what the cost of ownership truly is going to be.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's very interesting. Another question that I have is in regards to marketing. So let's imagine, I'll put you in another scenario. Let's imagine I'll send you to Australia. You don't know anybody else. You don't have any network and you restart as a boat broker from fresh. You just have a desk and a computer and you have a budget of $1,000, right?
Oh,
to
man.
get started. What would you do?
Am I near a marina?
Yeah, you're near a marina.
I'm near a marina. Well, first I'm going to go introduce myself to everybody at that marina and see if they've got a broker, and then tell them, try to gain business just from trying to do local networking, right?
Yeah.
Then, I mean, this goes exactly into kind of what we did at the very beginning. As a young broker, I just started reaching out to every single builder I could find, introducing myself, trying to get business from them, emailing them for the latest updates and just working not just the network of buyers and clients, but the yachting network itself. So whether that was, marina managers, dock masters, captains that I knew of, anybody that I could get in touch with, I was trying to be in their face and try to introduce myself, or offer my services. So that would be a key for me. With the $1,000, I would just try to keep getting out there, dress sharp, and introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah. And you see,
so for that much money, you can go and get yourself a nice, decent email address, right? Get a nice, decent email address, not using your Gmail or your Yahoo account, right?
Yeah.
Make it Alex Clarke Yacht Brokers or whatever you want to make it. Make yourself seem a little bit more professional, and try to give people the perception that even if you don't have the experience like we did when we started the Superyacht division, get in their face and give them the confidence that you're going to do well by them, right?
Yeah.
So
what do you think are the biggest mistakes that the brokers are making? I mean, you look at all those young
the big boat syndrome is one of them. That's a terrible one.
Which one? Sorry, I didn't hear.
The big boat syndrome.
The big boat syndrome. Yes.
Again, don't always go and try to sell. It's not like we're working at Fraser or just you only want to sell the bigger stuff. Sell if something's in front of you and you can sell it. Sell the boat. Yeah,
and that's how you gain more experience too.
And gain more experience.
Deals you do, the more experience you have.
Yeah. If you mess up on $100,000 or a $200,000 boat or $300,000 boat, not really a big deal,
Yeah.
I mean, you're still maybe losing out, but it's not like you're losing out on 150 or a 6-figure deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's excellent. So now, what do you think can be done in our industry to raise the bar a little bit? I do quite a few real estate on the side for family investment and things, and I see that in the real estate field they tend to be more professional the ways they do deals. And when I compare with boating, I think that there is a lot of improvement that can be done. So in your opinion, what do you think can be done in our industry to improve?
I'll use an example. I think it has to do with, again, boating's a funny thing. It's casual, yet at the same time, it's extremely expensive, right? So I think you have to have that fine line. I had a client fly in on a private jet, picked him up, ended up going and showing him a couple boats. And we got to one boat. I'm not going to mention what company it was, but it was a new boat, new company. It was a Saturday. Broker shows up late, covers all, it's, a
Boat not ready.
100-foot boat, covers were off, no crew, kind of went about the whole thing half-assed. And my client lost it. He was like, this is bullshit. I'm never buying a boat from this company.
Yeah.
This is how they're treating me.
Yeah.
And what example he gave me is he's like, when I buy an exotic car or a jet, I'm greeted with champagne or sparkling water or something, or like if you go into a boutique, a luxury boutique, if you want to even buy a nice watch, right?
Yes.
So I think, it's a fine line between the casual atmosphere of yachting itself to a broker being professional.
It's a good,
like for me, I hate it when a broker does a showing and he's in freaking shorts, like, come on, man. Like put yourself, I'm in a polo and I'm in slacks, right? And I've got shoes that you can't see my toes on, right?
Yeah.
So handle yourself like you're selling multi-million-dollar yachts and not like you're going to the beach. I hate that. Don't wear a baseball hat or a visor like you're going to go, sell somebody, a jet ski. It's not what you're doing.
So now, question about the market. You're saying that you realize the market is on fire right now. You're really grateful for it, and you're trying to take as much advantage of it. How long do you think the market will be like this? And what's your outlook on the future of the boating market?
The biggest problem we have right now is inventory, right? So inventory, even for new boats, you have a wait list, whether you're buying a Valhalla or if you're buying, some of the new builds.
Yes.
You have a wait list, and inventory is getting really skinny, right? So it's totally a seller's market. I've legitimately lost $50 million in deals this year because I brought the client all the money in the world for their boats, but they've decided to keep the boat because if they sold their boat, they have nothing to buy, right? So I think it'll shift a little bit. It can't keep going like this forever. I think we're going to see a downturn at some point, right? But right now, it helps the broker because you can't really go to your client and give them the 20 options before to confuse them, right?
Yes.
The one that I mentioned, which was a mistake I used to make. Now you have no choice but to focus them, right? So if you've got a client, you have to explain to him the situation. If he's out there looking for a bargain or he's going to be a lowball guy, it's not the time for him to buy. Maybe give your guy proper advice and say, listen, wait until the fall or even the spring next year and kind of, pick and choose when you're going to be making a decision on buying a boat. Yeah. So it's low inventory right now. So you just have to keep your clients focused.
Yeah. Cool. That's interesting. And I sent a survey last week to our database and asked what they're seeing of the outlook on the market. And overall, I think it was really positive. Only 6% were thinking we were going toward a crash. And 30% were thinking we're at the beginning of a boom in boating, and around 50% were thinking that it's going to stabilize. But even if it's stabilized, it's going to be positive because there's so many new boaters and so many new people that came into boating. So I think we're in a really good situation right now, and very grateful to be in this industry right now. So last question for you. I know you're a busy man. I know you got lots to do. Why don't you tell us a day in the life of Alex Clarke? What's your routine when you wake up to, you kind of gave us some hint. I wake up at 6 and I work until 1 with Bob, but what's in between? We want to know.
All right. So this morning I'm up at like 5:45. My five-year-old normally gets me up. Before I do anything, I pretty much go through all my emails, right? So first of all, I have a 5-year-old and I have a 7-month-old, right? And I'm married. So I'm up at 5:36. Normally at home, if it's school year, I'm bringing my son to work, and really once I drop him off, to school, once I drop him off at 8:30, really my day gets going. But before that, I've already talked to a couple of calls in Europe with my clients. I've probably gone through all my emails. I've been, deleted the spam or the nonsense, read the local updates from Boat International, Superyacht Times. I've gone through all that by the time I have breakfast. Doing survey sea trial all day long. If I'm out and about, I'm going to the shipyards, meeting with clients, but I try to get to my office. During COVID, I was working from home. Then I'm home at 5:30. I try to always be home for dinner. Always try to make it home. I always want to sit down with the family. I think it's important, you know, to do the family time. So I'm always home. Maybe a little late sometimes, but I always try to be there. And then I'll do family time through literally my son goes down to bed around 7:38. So that window there is me doing family time unless I have a big deal going and I have to handle it.
Yeah.
Then I normally read him a book to go to bed. I hate to say it, but I normally fall asleep for about 45 minutes with him. I wake up and it's like I've had a power nap, and then I'll work for another 3 hours because it's quiet in the house. Wife's sleeping, daughter's sleeping, son's sleeping, got nobody around except my dog and the cat, right?
Yeah.
So I normally work, and then I'll probably make a couple of phone calls to clients then, you know, and then go to bed last night, I think at 12:15.
Yeah. That's
Get up and do it again.
It's funny, we have a bit of the same routine because we're kind of like the same family environment. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
It's important to balance the family. You know, I had a broker the other day said, "Oh, here's my hero, Alex. He's the only guy who at 5:30 will tell a client he can't talk to him because he's with his family."
Yeah.
Well,
and clients will respect you for it. You know,
100%.
Clients will really respect you for it and want to do more business with you. Yeah.
For sure. Before I was paranoid. Oh my God, I have to answer it. I have to answer it. Now, if I'm like, I'm doing bedtime, can I call you back later? I mean, most clients are family guys anyways, and they respect it. So also something to think of. Don't neglect the family life.
Yes.
You know, where you think you have to pick up a phone call. I mean, I'm kind of preaching to myself here, you know, but that's super important. Balance. Take some time away. And so your
weekend, because I often see you take time on weekends. So you try to take a lot of weekend off.
Yeah, go to the beach, get away. You know, I try not to. I mean, here the tricky thing is that a lot of times our clients are off on the weekend. They want to come see boats on the weekend. I try not to do any showings on the weekends if I don't have to, right? If it's an important thing, I'll do it. If I have to bring my 5-year-old, it's not the most professional thing, you know, but he's well behaved. And a lot of times if I know the client, they'll be like, no problem, let's do it, you know, and he loves it. So try to do the family thing on the weekend. I mean, for my sanity too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but my wife will say I have my phone connected to me at all times and I can't put it down, but that's not the truth. I'd put it down for at least a couple hours a day.
Well, Alex, I want to thank you so much for being generous with your time. It means a lot. I think you're a big inspiration to a lot of people in this industry, and we need brokers like you to really show the example, not only being professional, but also have a balanced life with the family. So thank you so much for that. I wish you an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you on the dock soon.
Gotta go. I had 15 missed calls, so I gotta run.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Alex.
Cheers, guys. All right, thank you. Take care.
Bye.